Okay, so let's start this off with the Lord's Prayer. Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive our debts as we forgive our debtors. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For yours is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen. Hi everybody. This is a Christian channel. It focuses on a community and a ministry. It's more. I'm trying to be a little more positive and a little bit less toxic, right? And some good encouragement and something fun to do as a Christian. So the channel's called Christian RPG Gamers. I used to be called RPG guy, and that used to also be called Christian Righteous Gamer. So we're just gonna do a slow shift in the channel, make it a little more community and ministry focused. Okay, so this video is going to be about Magic the Gathering, and you know why I think why this game is a great game, and some stuff I love about it. And, there's obviously a little bit of some criticism towards the series too, right? Okay, so I guess I'll start by saying, so some things that I like about the game, right? One thing I like about Magic the Gathering, I would say from a Christian perspective, is that it's a game where you can socialize with other people. And it's also a world where, for the most part, it's a pretty fair it's a pretty fair society and pretty fair world, right? It's pretty even playing field. It's it's a place where you can get together. You can either have some friends already, or you can learn and make some new friends. And like maybe once a week, or it could be once a month, or it could be a couple times a week. You can meet up with some friends, go to your local game store, and there's a bunch of different formats. You find what's right for you, and you can hang out with some friends and play a cool game. I feel like as a Christian, you can in holiness glorify God, and I like the socializing aspect of the game, and that's one thing I think that that's one thing I feel like as a Christian we should not take for granted is the being able to socialize with other people. And that's definitely a net positive, right? Okay, so yeah, we as human beings, we're not meant to be alone. We're not in holiness. God, when he created humanity, he put tons of people in this world, right? Even now, there's just tons of people. He wants the world populated, and there's just lots of people in it, for whatever his reasons are and throughout his will. We aren't meant to live on an island. We're meant to we're meant to be around somebody or something, or have a fellowship or a group of people, right? So I do feel like that's one thing about Magic the Gathering that I like, is that it gives you the ability to socialize. Okay, so maybe some other things about the game, right? It offers you a level of escapism from reality for a small period of time. It's like, as people of the faith, or just humanity in general, we work a job, we're married, we have kids, we go to school, we run some kind of a program, or we're a part of a group somewhere, or there's or whatever it might be, right? Maybe you have someone really difficult and really toxic and really, really just hostile in your life every day. You're bullied, you're mistreated, you're alienated. You got whatever it might be in your life. You got just stress in your life. You got personal problems. Maybe you made mistakes. Being able to play a card game like Magic the Gathering or really, to be honest, any kind of like, more nerd activities, right? It's kind of what the channel is focused on. It's Christianity and like, like nerdy stuff, right? That's kind of what the channel is. That's what the community ministry is. It offers you a level of escapism, and I think this is something we really should not take for granted. You get together with some people and you hang out every week. You can buy some pizzas or some drinks, buy some sodas. I mean, you hang out with some friends or whatever you might do, right? And I feel like that's something that we as the faith, that's something we as the faith, we should never take that for granted, right? It offers you escapism. You go to a world that's a fantasy world. Now, again, I believe as a person of the faith, we do got to be careful with our escapism, right? It's like there is some dangerous stuff out there. I'm not going to lie, right? I mean, obviously, most people already know this. It's like, there's demons, there's like witchcraft, there's a lot of really perverse, twisted, abhorrent crap out there. I mean, there's just lists and lists and lists of bad stuff out there. And, really, your entertainment is not that much different at the end of the day. But I do believe that most entertainment is neutral. And really, Magic the Gathering, I genuinely believe that Magic the Gathering is a pretty neutral world. I mean, it's, it's a society where there's like it's a society that there is there's a wide spectrum of different there's just all sorts of different stuff. Like even some of these pictures here, it's kind of it's just like a little bit of there's some Egyptian stuff. There's some, I mean, frankly, I'm not even entirely sure off the top of my head, where half of these worlds are. There's like, hundreds of worlds all connected into one. And, there's just so many places where you can go. And, you can escape a little bit of your reality for a small period of time. And that's something I think is a net W. And sometimes it's good to just get out of your life for a little while. Again, you got to be careful, and obviously there's some stuff out there that's pretty nasty, right? Like, the devil's at work, and holiness, God is at work, but so is like the devil. Angels are trying to help us. So are demons. Demons are trying to get us too. So wherever you, and truth be told, that ain't any less different anywhere else you go, right? All these forces are at work. In holiness, God is good and He's sovereign, and He has it all under control at the end of the day. But it doesn't really matter where you go, because there's always going to be something or someone dark. There's always going to be something out there that's questionable, or there's probably always going to be something good out there too, right? But yeah, like Magic the Gathering, it offers you the ability to just go somewhere new or go somewhere different, and that's something really great. And it's like, you see some dragons, or you go to some places, go to all different locations with all sorts of different environments, and they got little gizmos and gadgets, and they change the names of some of their different cards. It's just a whole really big, great, fun, I guess I could say, maybe that's another good aspect of it, right? It has artwork, and, again, it's pretty, there's all sorts of stuff in it. I mean, I haven't even explored probably half of this game. There's so many, to be honest with you, I'm not even 100% certain how many different cards are in Magic the Gathering. I think there's probably over 100,000 at this point. So, and also, I mean, in originally, Magic the Gathering, it did have Christianity in it too, right, at one point. So it's like, again, there's realistic themes in it too. They have like they have Fallout in it. They have like Transformers, and they got like they got the Wild West right now. They got all sorts of stuff. It's just a huge game with tons of stuff in it, right? Some people have massive collections. I mean, it's hard to even keep track of, everything in it and all the stuff, right? Oh. So yeah, again, so I would say that also another aspect about the game, it's just that it's a massive world. It's immersive. There's just so many mechanics, and again, also another aspect of it, it's a fun game to play, and you can get yourself lost into the world, playing MTG for hours if you want to. They got an app on your phone you can play. It's called MTG Arena. I think they used to have a game called like Magic, something like Magic the Gathering Pro or something. It had some kind of an app on your computer you could play it. They had a couple of old video games. And there's tons of different formats for the game. They have draft, they have constructed. I think they have some kind of a cube. They have so much stuff in the game. It's amazing, right? And there's just something. They're sealed. They have I don't know. I mean, honestly I couldn't even keep track of all the different formats, right? You got pre-constructed decks you can play with or play against. They got Commander. It's called like the EDH Commander. They got I mean, there's so much stuff out there, right? And they got some of the old formats, what they call like Vintage and Legacy, and I think they call it Modern. And they have different variations of different stuff. You can play one-on-one, and you can play with a group of like 4 to 6 players. And they go to so many different places too, right? Got all them. They come out with massive amounts of different sets with a whole bunch of different themes to them. Again, there's just so much. I feel like there's so much stuff to love about this game. So yeah, I feel like, to be honest with somebody, I feel like this is a kind of game where it's a very neutral world. And yeah, the name of the game, Magic the Gathering, as a Christian, it has sorcery. They call it sorcery, right? But I mean, I would also argue, to be honest, it's just like a neutral, fun video. It's not a video. It's a neutral, fun trading card game. And I think people, you just don't worry so much. I know a lot of people, they just worry so much every single day. I think the game, to be honest, I know I've given some of my opinions. I've tried to. I don't want to be the moral authority. I want to be a channel that's a little more fun. And that glorifies God. I want the channel to be like a righteous channel, but it can also be some fun too, right? Honestly speaking, I think this game is incredibly good. Now, again, there is stuff in it you got to be careful with, but honestly, I probably would recommend the game, to be honest. It's like it's kind of like like you choose your own adventure, right? At the end of the day, there is you kind of just do what you can just kind of do whatever you want with the series. Now again, the labeling of the series is where a lot of people would get they kind of put off as a Christian, right? It is the name Magic, Magic the Gathering. They call it sorcery, and they have spells. And almost all the stuff they call like a spell speed, and you're playing spells, and there's like some wizards, and they got some planeswalker duels. And it got some stuff. It's like a very it's a very like ugly name for an exterior of those series. But truth be told, it's kind of like when you play The Witcher 3, right? And you put on an item, and it's an upgraded item. They call it like quote unquote a magic item. Again, it's just like, it's a technicality. I mean, I understand that it's like if you don't want to play this game at all, that's understandable. I completely respect that. But you don't get so caught up on a technicality for an entire series like this. Again, I mean, there is so much to it. And, there's a lot of good to it, too. And there is a lot of bad. But there is also a lot of good. That's why I generally believe it's a neutral series. Again, don't let the terminologies and the technicalities destroy your ability to have a great experience. Now, I honestly believe, as a Christian, you can glorify God with it. Oh, I believe as a Christian you can glorify God playing a really cool, amazing. Well, it's one of the best trading card games in the honestly, it's probably one of the best trading card games ever made. And I'm sure I'm seeing this picture here. Oh yeah, here's a great example. Here's a great example of hundreds, if not thousands, of people playing this game, and all sorts of it's there's a great community. It's lots of diversity. It's a heck of a lot of fun, right? I think that's probably what I would make the best argument for, is that it's a lot of fun and lets you socialize with other people, and it gives you some escapism, and it's a really complex, deep game. And then in holiness, as a Christian, since this is a neutral game, you can glorify God with it. Maybe keep your wits about you, and you don't have to do every single thing in it. Maybe you don't have to build up like a wizard deck where you just blatantly cast spells. But again, you could play like a warrior deck or something, right? And there is some evil in the game, and then there's like the color black. And black in Magic the Gathering is kind of like the devil. But white in Magic the Gathering is kind of like God and his kingdom too. So again, I feel like there is a lot of room for a lot of good, and there is some bad. And I feel like as a person of the faith, you could choose, if you wanted to look for the positives. There's so much good, so much fun to be had in this. And don't let some technicality completely throw you off. I mean, if you want to be mad in life, there's always something you can be mad about. If you don't want to do something, there's always a reason you can say no. But there's at the same time, there's always a reason you can say yes. You can look for more reasons to say yes to. And again, I feel like you should look for a reason, especially if it's something that's more wholesome, right? Maybe find a reason to say yes. Wow, there's thousands of people there. Man, that is super awesome, to be honest. Okay, let's see here. I've been to a handful of tournaments. I've never been to a big tournament, a big tournament. Like, this is a big tournament. I've been to some local game stores a handful of times. I think I've been to maybe around 100 or 200 people, but this is probably 5,000 plus people. That is a big tournament. Wow. This makes me this makes me feel so small. Okay, wow. It's almost a little bit of some social anxiety. How many people are there? Okay, but yeah, this is the kind of stuff that I love about the game, right? And it's also it's worldwide. It's been around for, honestly, I think it's almost been around longer than I've even been alive. It is an old game, but it's a great game too. What's this picture? Oh my gosh. Oh. Oh wow, man, so many people there. Yeah, but again, you can make, as an individual, you can make so many friends and hang out. You can get great memories. Have a wonderful time. And do something fun, and you can use your brain a little bit too. But yeah, again, my biggest piece of advice as a Christian playing a game like Magic the Gathering, you just gotta keep your wits about you, right? And there is some stuff out there that's kind of naughty. And yeah, I mean, and also, they can have they can have, they can have some spicy stuff. They can have the females who play the females in the pictures. Sometimes they wear some skimpy looking outfits and stuff. And yeah, I mean that can be a little bit naughty, right? And there is some demons. And then they have necromancies. They have necromancers, and they have wizards and stuff. And again, they have some stuff in there that's pretty shady and pretty sketchy as a person of the faith. That I feel like you do got to be careful. And I mean, again, and there are people who play the game who honestly are probably just evil. And there's a lot of problems wrong with the world. There's a lot of problems wrong in general, just because of sin. And it's like there's no exception, right? And truth be told, and that's pretty much everywhere in the world. You play a video game, you play it online. There's probably something wrong with it. I mean, you can always find something wrong with something if you want. Like, it's like, here's an example. Like, she's obviously not. She's not naked, right? I mean, she's obviously wearing at least something. But they can have their characters in real skimpy outfits and stuff. And to be honest with you, it's not like some people are offended. There's nothing really that wrong with some of the stuff. Again, it's a little bit sketchy sometimes, right? It's like, men like to look at pretty looking females and who wear skimpy outfits, so that's why they put that stuff in there. It's just the truth, right? It's like you look in a movie poster of some of the most popular movies. Yeah, the females are going to be wearing skimpy outfits because that's what men who watch this kind of stuff want to see, right? I mean, again, I know that that's a little bit shady, but sometimes that's just the way it is, right? Yeah, like right there, I see she's wearing almost like a bikini or something. And again, some people might view that as it's very what do you call very it's like a naughty kind of stuff, right? I mean, they put some naughty stuff in these stuff too, right? Again, but is that going to off-put somebody so much to the point where you're just not going to play the game at all? And again, even in this picture, some of these pictures here where they're wielding the elements and they have magic and stuff. And again, that stuff is very naughty. I mean, there's a lot of negatives, but there's so many positives too. And to be honest, it's also just a heck of a lot of fun. And again, it embodies the idea of fantasy, right? And not all fantasy is of the devil. You got in this picture here, you got a cat. You got some lady who's just lit on fire. You got some a beast master kind of a guy. And yeah, you got black, which is generally the devil. They're considered the villains of the story. It has nothing to do with one's skin color. That's what you're thinking. It's nothing to do with skin color. It's just the archetype of the color itself that's bad inherently. But and you got a guy who's kind of like a wizard maybe a little bit, and they mess around with subterfuge or something. Again, there is some there's a lot of positives though. And it's you play a fantasy MMO or something, right? Yeah, I mean, the way I sometimes I like to look at stuff is that they are characters in a story, and they play a role, and they make moral choices, and that you as the individual can enjoy and experience something great that's higher than yourself. And it's not you, right? And it's again, you can watch a movie or something, and you can just enjoy characters in a story. And you don't have to agree with it. I think honestly, you can just disagree with certain things, but you can learn from it, and you can also just experience something amazing. Yeah, I mean, yeah, the characters that they interact with each other, they make moral choices, and again, so a lot of these there's pretty pictures and they're aesthetic, and they sometimes mix and match some of the colors. And it's again, it's a form of an escapism, and not everything has to just revolve around us as individuals, right? Like, here's a picture of an angel. I think her name's called Sarah Angel. Again, there's holy characters who fight against unholy characters, and it's just like there's lots of concept art, and there's text descriptions. And I mean, then there's like knights, and then there's a huge, wide, vast amounts of stuff you can do. And again, like you can focus on the positives too if you want, right? Like, here's an archangel, kind of like representing maybe like a Catholic, like Christian, like a Christian woman of the Lord. She has some kind of like a big sword, and she helps defend like the people of the faith or something, right? And there's a ton of positive stuff out there, right? So yeah, I would say, like, if you like the kind of game as a Christian, maybe just try to focus on the positives, and don't focus, and then kind of maybe deny yourself the negatives, and try to focus more on the positives. Because that's why I want the channel to be going forward. It's a little bit more positive, right? I want to be objective and tell the truth, but you can also be positive too, right? Because if almost everything is subjective, then I mean, who's to say that there isn't good in it too? There's a lot of fun to be had, and there's a lot of good. Okay, so one other thing before I finish this, I want to talk about, like, if you go on places like Reddit, right? They got like Reddit, Magic the Gathering trading card game, right? And they got these massive communities, and sometimes I just kind of like scrolling through some, like, on Reddit or something, and you got like the Fallout, right? You got like Fallout is one of my favorite franchises. Magic the Gathering, they've been incorporated, and they've pretty much gone everywhere. They've done everything, and they've pretty much gone everywhere. They got, like, I think Final Fantasy coming out at one point. They got the Fallout cards. I got a handful of Fallout cards. Some guy when I was playing at a local game store, I think like last week, he gave me some free cards, and I got some cards out of it, and some of them are the Fallout cards, right? And that's pretty cool. And again, like, that's an example, right? I'm not going to try to go into too much details. I don't want the channel to focus just heavily around myself, right? But the guy, what's his face? Moist Critical. There is a lot of good out there, right? And there are people out there who are really kind and really nice, and who will help you out, and who are friendly and who are loving. And there are other people of the faith out there too, right? There are Christians out there. And also, I feel like you don't have to always push your faith every single second of the day either. It's like, you can just find some escapism, right? But yeah, again, like, in this community, I mean, try to check here. Oh yeah, I also built, I'm not going to spend too much time here. I built a brand new Reddit. My old Reddit was just riddled in toxicity, and it was just a big, like, hellhole. So I decided just to scrap it. I built a new one. I haven't done too much in it yet. If you're interested, I don't have a lot on here right now. It's called Reddit / Christian RPG Gamers. So if you're interested in that Reddit, I want it to be more of a positive place and not a super negative place. So if you want to come on the subreddit, try to be try to be like a decent person, right? So what was the name of this place? So this subreddit online currently has 752,000 people who are subscribed to this, just in this one little area, right? There is a ton of people who love this game. And it's in multiple languages too, right? Art showcase. Yeah, this will probably just show me like pretty pictures. But yeah, like, it's a thriving, massive community. It's a great place to socialize. It's a great place to, to develop and build something amazing. And you get a chance to be part of it. And, sometimes that's just, to be human, right? And, in holiness, God created us and put us here on this planet. And truth be told, how Revelation is that looking at this card? Okay, I was looking outside too, like a return to nature. Man, it's like spooky. Okay, we all were put here on this planet, and we all are gonna eventually one day die and go back to this planet. And we all come from the earth, and we're going to go back to the earth one day, right? And that's just the way it is. And you might not get it. I mean, you might get a lot of time. And truth be told, you might not. But I feel like that's one aspect of that's the part of life. Life is pretty morally gray, and it's pretty subjective. Yeah, there is a lot of objective truth, but there is a lot of subjectivity, and you can have some fun, right? I say just keep your wits about you. There's a lot of fun, right? But you got to be careful at the same time. So yeah, this is kind of just some of my thoughts about Magic the Gathering. I've been kind of getting more into it myself, and I'd make a little video, and people, I want this to be a community, right? That we can all, be part of, right? Like, here's another card. It's not in English. I do not know what language that is. It might be Italian. Maybe it's Spanish. I'm not really sure. But yeah, there's. Yeah, it's just, I think that's probably my main point, is that it's a lot of fun, and it's a pretty neutral game. So if you wanted to, you could choose to be optimistic and look for the good in something, and not look for the evil. It's like, I feel like, you can look at the glass as half full rather than half empty. And as a Christian in holiness, you can glorify God with it. And, it gives you some escapism. It gives you some relief from your problems temporarily. You can build a great community. You can do something great with your life and do something fun. And maybe if you build a big collection one day, you can help somebody out, or you can pass it on to your children. And or you can just dedicate it to the Lord. And that's something that's something good. All right. Well, thanks for watching. God is good.